Also, there's a reason a lot of people experience Z-axis wobble, as that is called. There's no guide here. See that? That's wobbling, especially if it's on the lower position and not really up, because that way it is in here. This will wobble. Now see what that'll do to the whole construction. There should have been a guide here. Again, you might argue, yeah, you can 3D print a guide and use the T-screws, the T-nuts, to screw it on there. But then again, that's not the whole point of a beginner's printer. So to sum it all up, overall, it is probably, if the SD card is working, I could not even do one test print, because that's when I found out that the SD card was dead on arrival. Overall, it's probably a nice printer. Is it a beginner's friendly printer? No, it is still not, although others might seem to think it is. I think they got the ET4 Pro, which has the silent motherboard, because yes, there's actually two motherboards that you can buy for the ET4. One is a regular one and one is labeled silent motherboard, which is a more expensive motherboard. And the Pro version also comes with NEMA 17 stepper motors, rather than the ones that I got here. And this is, like I said, this is the same printer as the Labist one. So I think Anet should have been more clear, or maybe the reviewers that got that printer, that was not the regular Anet printer, but they were actually reviewing the Anet ET4 Pro version. I think a lot of concessions have been made with their printers that should not have been made. And those would typically be the ones in regard to wear and tear. And I don't think it'll take you long with this printer before you run into issues that need solving, readjusting. I would say if I would recommend a beginner's printer, I might actually, for really small parts, recommend a printer which is called the Fulcrum Minibot. There's a Maker's Muse review on that one. He also did a live stream on that. Or the FlashForge Finder series, or the FlashForge Adventurer series, which are all printers that are fully enclosed, with automatic bed leveling, which is actually automatic bed leveling. This claims to have automatic bed leveling, which, come to think of it, I forgot to mention as well. There is a sensor here that'll sense how far it is before it'll hit the main bed, so that way it can measure the distance. But still, you need to screw these. Still, you need to put a paper underneath the extruder to see if you have the right amount of distance before it auto senses and defines its position. That is not automatic bed leveling. That is semi-automatic bed leveling. The moment I have to adjust here and put a paper or do any manual procedures, that is not automatic. That is semi-automatic. And that having to do with beginners friendly. I think this is not really as beginners friendly as it could have been if they had made a few different design choices, a few different engineering decisions. So yeah, that's my conclusion. Too bad I'm gonna have to send this back to Anet. I will make a third installment to this series, and then I'm closing up this one. I did already order a replacement 3D printer, which is the Tron XY2 Pro, or as some people call it, the Tronxy XY2 Pro. So yeah, when I'm doing this anyway, I might as well review that one as well. But yeah, it's a shame, really. I was looking forward to be using this, but 3 weeks after I ordered it, I still haven't even been able to make one test print. So, beginners friendly, from my perspective, this was my first 3D printer. Absolutely no. Is it a bad printer? 50-50. I think that it could have been a much better printer for only a few bucks more. So yeah, I got it on a sale for 105 euros. So even if I had to buy a replacement motherboard, that'll cost me 40 more. That'd still be a relatively cheap printer. But before I even started printing, I found out a few loose ends on the printer, which, if you're advertising this as a beginner friendly, should not have been there in the first place, because you will run into issues. You will need to do tinkering and solve a few problems here and there. And those are the kind that are there because they were cheap solutions that should have been better solutions. And yes, that would have driven up the price of the printer, but not considerably. I'm talking a few bucks here, so it's beyond me why they did not do that. So yeah, hopefully I gave you a bit more insight on this printer, insight that I wish I had prior to ordering it, because I probably would have decided against doing so. So yeah, for me that's rounding this up, and anything that I'll miss, I'll come back to in the third installment, which would be the final installment, and that will be basically more about how to go about buying your 3D printer, what to do, what not to do. So, based on my experience, just so other people will not have a similar bad experience, especially if it is their first 3D printer they're considered to buying or considering to buy. So, yeah, that's it for now. Thank you for watching. If you managed to keep that up all the way till the end, and see you next time. Have a great day.
Boom! I will no longer tolerate any crap.
And just like that, the Anet ET4 printer that was sitting on my desk is gone and has been replaced by my laptop. And if I'm going to pan a little to the side here, just skew the camera a bit. The Tronxy XY2 Pro, the replacement I ordered for it, with which I will hopefully have a much better experience than I had with this one. Um, I explained about why I think it is not a entry-level printer. Um, this will be more about where not to buy from, or what to do when you're in the market for a entry-level 3D printer, or in the market for your first own 3D printer. I thought it was already quite confusing that there were, like I mentioned, two different ET4 type printers. As it turned out, there are 5 of them. Yeah, that's not at all confusing, you know. I thought 2 was already a bit weird, that have the same name, but these almost are the same printers for a few differences. There's motherboards here: regular ET4 motherboard, silent ET4, silent ET4 Plus, silent ET4 Pro, silent ET4X. Okay, yeah. Sure, whatever. I opened up my Anet ET4 Plus as requested by the seller, and he's because at first they were going to send me a replacement motherboard. In the end, I decided against it and just ship it back to him and go for a full refund. And boy, that was a nice experience as well. Except it wasn't. Um, this is also something, the first experience you have with a 3D printer should not be a user-friendly experience, but also a consumer-friendly experience, meaning that you don't want to have issues over a refund with a seller that is very uncooperative, which mine on AliExpress was, even though, as I later found out, is a official seller selling the legitimate product. I can go over that shortly. This is the whole discussion that we had before we finally came to an agreement. It's quite long, as you can see. Um, there we go. Yep, still not done. Yep, finally, that's the last thing. Um, when I first contacted him, anyone who is familiar with AliExpress and what to do when you either received the wrong item or it was not as described or came dead on arrival, you can open up a dispute. You have to do so within the first 15 days after you confirm the item had arrived. In fact, I contact the seller before I opened up a dispute because I thought it was kind of fair over an item this expensive and this big to do so, and not have him confronted with a dispute like bam, out of nowhere. So I told him, well, the SD card doesn't plug, and I'm hoping we can come to a solution. And then he proposed the following. Yes, you can order a part from my shop, and then I will send the replacement motherboard along with it. But you have to order a small item so I can make a standard AliExpress package for shipping. And even though that may sound credible, this is where I'm having, this is why I found it troublesome. You have 15 days after arrival to open a dispute. Shipping time, standard AliExpress shipping time is somewhere between 14 and 21 days. If you exceed the 15 days period that you have after you confirmed the package had in fact arrived, you lose your chance to file a dispute and lose your warranty by doing so. So waiting out 14 to 21 days for me is not a solution. So I said, well, if you could either give me 100% discount on the motherboard, which I also looked up on his web shop, it wasn't there, or you just send me one. But I do want a receipt, because also if you order a fan and they'll just toss in the motherboard on the side, but it is not registered, you neither have warranty on that either. So doesn't make sense to me. But he refused that. So then I gave him a third proposal, and then I said, well, then I would like a 50% discount or a 50% refund, sorry, on the printer itself. Which may sound unfair, like keep the goods, get a 15% discount. But here's the thing, I bought it for €105. Ordering a new board cost me €40 plus shipping if I need it fast. So dividing 105 by 2 and refund me that, which is 52.50 for those who did the calculus, that would be fine. But then he said, no, you send it back to me then and I will replace everything. So I said, sure, where do I send it to? He didn't reply to that, and I said, okay, I will agree to that if I can return it to the warehouse I bought it from, because it came to me shipped from Neumarkt, Germany. And he agreed, and then I agreed, so then the dispute is basically over. And when I looked into the shipping details, sure enough, he gave me an address in China. Shipping 14 kilograms from Central Europe to China is about 140 euros. So that's more than what I bought the printer for. Not going to do that. So I revoked the dispute, and I said, well, listen, you're just tell me what address I send it to before I accept the proposal, and it has to be an address free of shipping. So he said, okay, you can send it to a Dutch seller. He will contact you. And I said, well, okay, fine. I will only accept to this proposal, to this dispute, if I know what address to send it to, because last time you agreed for me to send it back to the warehouse I got it from, but you gave me an address in China. And he said, yes, someone will contact you. That didn't happen. So meanwhile, I was also in contact with Anet over their Facebook page, and also their customer service care on their own website. Because I wanted to know first, is the seller an official one? Is the product legit? Said, sure, yes, why? And then I explained that I was having this really cumbersome, troublesome experience with him, very unpleasant. And then he said, okay, we'll talk to him, we'll contact him, don't worry. The day after, I got a message on my phone from a Dutch bicycle dealer or importer, I don't know, oddly enough. And he said, yeah, I am the Dutch ANET guy. You can send it back to me. I will refund shipping to you. And if I find your reasons of returning legit, we also will refund the printer. So yeah, fine with that. Cool. I wish I had known or done that before I ordered from AliExpress. So I guess what I'm trying to say is here, if you are going to order on AliExpress, if I would advise against it at all, but from my experience, only do so if under the order it says free return, because that way you know, should you need to return the item, you don't have to go through all the trouble that I had to go through. And the other one is preferably buy locally, either from a store or a online shop from a local company, or through the official website. So if you're going to order an ANET printer, buy from the ANET website. Or what I did with the Tron XY printer that I just got is I ordered it straight from them.
Boom! I will no longer tolerate any crap.